All right, so today we're going to be talking a little bit about the light occult and the dark occult. Now, the dark occult is something that certain people may have heard of or come across of based on things that are happening in our world right now as it relates to certain underground goings-ons, right? As far as the source of a lot of the stuff that's actually happening, doing a lot of research and finding out what's actually going on in our world underneath the surface has led many people to having some understanding of what they call the dark occult. So we're not going to focus on the political stuff, right? Or the government side of things or what's going on in the world on that level. But I really wanted to break down a little bit more about what the dark occult really is and what the light occult really is. Just to, clear this up once and for all. So first of all, in the world of occultism, right? And the word occult means hidden knowledge. That's all that it means. Some people have been told that the word occult is just evil. If someone mentions the occult or says the occult, it's just automatically evil. But the truth is that's not true. It's just hidden knowledge, and usually it refers to spiritual knowledge and knowledge of, someone's mind and their true nature and what we're really capable of as beings. That's the occult knowledge. Now, the occult really does include all religions and spirituality, right? Every spiritual path, every religion is part of it's under the umbrella of the occult. And just like anything else, there's the light side and there's the dark side, right? And that's very much the case with the world of the occult. The occult knowledge is true spirituality, right? This is where the people who really know what's going on in our world and what we are as human beings and, our ultimate spiritual destiny, these are the people who know the truth, whether it's the light occult or the dark occult. People that are involved in like organized religions and stuff like that, this is real surface level stuff. Most of those people don't really have a desire to go deeper with spirituality and to find the truth. They're just kind of fueled by fear and sort of a certain degree of unconsciousness, and they just want to feel kind of like comfortable, you know what I mean? And kind of do what everybody else does. So that's what organized religion is for. Organized religion is for people who just kind of want like a pacifier and then to go back to sleep. So what is the dark occult and the light occult? So the dark occult and the light occult, some people know them as the left-hand path and the right-hand path. The left-hand path is the dark occult, the right-hand path is the light occult. And essentially, to make it as simple as we can, the right-hand path, the light occult, they are seeking, traditional spiritual growth and spiritual evolution and to work on themselves and ultimately to merge their own soul with infinite spirit, right? That's what going to heaven is. That's what nirvana is, moksha. It's something that happens within you. And so that's what the right-hand path is doing. Anybody who's meditating and, the Buddhists, the Hindus, Christianity is if you're following a path of light, of working on yourself and trying to refine yourself spiritually, that is a form of the right-hand path. And they want to ultimately merge with the spirit and do the will of the divine ultimately, right? And they want to dissolve their sense of personal identity, what they call the ego. And so the left-hand path wants to go in kind of the complete opposite direction. This I, right? The I-ness is the ego. Like if I say I am, or this is my house, or that's my wife or my husband, that sense of I-ness is what the right-hand path is trying to get rid of so they can sort of merge with spirit and infinite life, right? The left-hand path wants to, that I-ness, they want to hold on to that and preserve that. That's a big reason why you see that I. That's what they're always doing. That's what that really means, by the way, the great I. That's what they're doing. They want to preserve their ego, their personal identity, and to enhance it. And they want to follow their own will over following the will of the divine or the spirit. So that's fundamentally at the core what both paths are seeking to do. The left-hand path doesn't want to have anything to do with God. They just want to be their own gods and do whatever they want, even to the point of completely extricating themselves from the kingdom of heaven and never going back again. That's really what they're trying to do, and they're trying to make the universe of time and space their home. That's what the fall from heaven really was about. That's what the sort of the satanic unconscious mind that we talked about is trying to do, right? So they just, that's why they see Satan or Lucifer as like their God, because it really is. That's the God of time and space, right? Whereas everyone on the right-hand side sees, the creator as the true God, not the one who's created time and space. So sometimes people get those mixed up. It's okay. God hears your knows your heart and what you really mean. So if you're a sincere person and you're looking for God, your spiritual beliefs are not as important as where you're coming from in your heart and your sincerity and seeking truth, right? So that's pretty much it. Obviously, the left-hand path, they want to do their own thing, but they go to the extent of like completely reversing universal and spiritual law. That's why they're into such dark, twisted stuff, because that's their whole thing. They literally want to twist everything upside down and backwards, make up, down, and black, white, and man, woman. There's a lot of this push for transgenderism you see going on. A lot of the stuff that we see going, the dark occult has always existed in our world, but we're living in a period of human history right now, not just U.S. history, but human history, where people are really getting to see these people like come to the surface. They're just coming out, right? They're teaching your kids, they're pushing for like transgenderism, and like if you look at Luciferian doctrine, that's everything that's happening on the world stage right now with the pronouns and pushing people to have sex changes and all this stuff. You can get a sex change, but it's the pushing. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make their kingdom here. This is the time where they're trying it because the technology is present, right? The economic technology, the internet, electronic technology, the science of kind of like brainwashing and mind control. They have all that lock, stock, and under key. So they're doing it. They're trying to come out like and be part of. They want to be accepted, right? The dark occult wants to be mainstream. So when you see a lot of these shows of trying to make like murder or eating people or drinking blood or all that kind of stuff, they're trying to make it mainstream. That's the dark occult coming to the surface. And the Christian people know about these things because they talk about Satan a lot. What they don't understand is how much Satan has gotten into the church. And they don't really understand light occultism or dark occultism, but they get the dark occult stuff going on. So at least we have that. So that's pretty much it. The light occult and the dark occult have been on the earth the entire time. It's just kind of like the ancient legends of angels and demons or light versus darkness. That's all that it really is. And what we discussed here with the right-hand path wanting to dissolve the ego and merge with spirit and do the will of the spirit, while the left-hand path wants to preserve their own personal ego identity and really amplify it and enhance it. Their version of eternal life is to make their ego eternal. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they both are fundamentally doing, what they want and what's driving them, right? So right now what we're seeing in the world, just between you and I, we're seeing a clash between the light occult and the dark occult in a way that this world has never quite seen before. It's something else. If you know, this is a wild, like when human beings look back on this period of time in history, the people will be like, oh my God, like that was crazy. This is beyond, we've already gone beyond, what's gone on in World War II and the Nazis, dark occult. That's just the dark occult. They created this identity of Nazism to have a vehicle to be sort of more open and public about who they are. But all that stuff, genocide and all that's dark occultism, right? The Nazis didn't just pop up out of nowhere with you know what I mean? It was just the dark occult. That's why they were so interested in occultism and mysticism anyway. So anyway, that's kind of a breakdown of the light occult and the dark occult, what they fundamentally believe and what their motivations are in this world. But it plays out in many different ways. We're not gonna get into too much of like how it's playing out on the world stage. But if you know what's going on, if you want to find out more, there's all kinds of stuff on the internet. There's books, there's information about this kind of stuff, coming to the surface and attempting to become more mainstream. And that's what's going on. It's a real struggle between light and darkness. The light occult is stopping the dark occult because the dark occult is totally out of control. I don't want to talk a lot about the dark occult on this channel, but it's mostly going to be focusing on light occult and just occult knowledge in general and really how you can overcome your own ego. I'm not here to support you being part of the dark occult. If you want to go do that, that's your own business. But this is mostly like a right-hand path, light occult type of a channel. So that's it. I'm part of the light occult. I actively am involved with, A Course in Miracles, spirituality, meditation, all that type of stuff. And we'll talk more about it as the channel moves along here. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about it, feel free to comment down in the section below and we'll talk about it. Hope you guys are doing well and we'll talk soon.